Hi friends and welcome back. I am so excited that you are here. We are cruising right along with this play along journal series. I am working through 2 handmade art journals from beginning to end. That way you can see me take every step of the way and see the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, and see how I use the embellishments that are already in a handmade art journal to my benefit and use them for the design process. So we're starting out here today, and I have watercolor paper on the left, and so I thought that would be a perfect opportunity to use some watercolor paint directly in my art journal. I think you can use watercolor no matter what kind of paper you have, but it does absorb better on the watercolor paper, especially in a bound art journal. That way it doesn't seep through to the other pages too much. So I'm going in just with a paintbrush with some water and in an abstract manner, putting on some color to the page, kind of blending it around. You can see that the left side interacts with the paper different than the right side does. That's just a regular piece of paper on the right. And so it doesn't really matter what kind of paper you're using, but you just learn to see how it reacts different with different papers. I'm hitting the page with the heat gun a little bit just so that I can continue on. I don't need the page to be completely dry in order to continue, but in order for colors to not blend as much with each other, I do want that to dry just a little bit. The color that I'm adding now, I want it to sit on top of what I've already done a little bit more. I'm definitely not an expert in watercolor by any means, so I'd like to just get in there and play and see how all the colors mix together and see what I can make of it. This was a pocket over here on the right side, a little envelope, and so I wanted to make sure that those pages were not sticking together, so I dried them just a little bit more before continuing. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this series so far. It's been so fun to play along with all of you. While you're at it, if you would hit that subscribe button and maybe leave a comment down below letting me know what you think. I would love to know what your thoughts so far are on this process. In addition, I try to link all of the supplies that I use in the description below. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know, and I will try to find where that is from for you. I added a little bit of the Stabilo all pencil, and with a wet paintbrush, just smeared out that color a little bit, made it smudge a bit, and just moved that pigment around on the page. I'm trying to decide exactly where I want to go with this spread. Overall, I am pretty happy with leaving it a little bit more simple. I'm thinking about adding in some stitching here. I think that is always a really great way to add texture. In no particular pattern, I'm just poking through the paper with my needle and bringing that thread back and forth, creating just an intuitive pattern. I did not plan it out ahead of time what I would be doing, but rather just keep stitching and see where it turns out. I'm checking what it looks like from both sides of the paper. When you stitch directly onto the pages in an art journal, you do see it on both sides, and so that is something to consider, just what that is looking like on both sides overall. It's a really subtle addition on the left side, but I think that the texture just gives it a really fun and unique look. I'm deciding what else to add on this page, and I think something a little bit more bold with this opaque black gesso would be really fun, and so I brought out one of my stencils, and I'm going to do a little bit of stenciling here on the page. The end of my sponge was dried from previous use, and so I just cut off the end, and I'm going to continue on with this stenciling process. Whenever I use stencils, I usually don't use the entirety of the stencil, but rather pick and choose kind of randomly where I want the stencil to actually show underneath. Adding a few little scribble marks to kind of tie everything together, just to be a little bit looser and more grunge on each side. I'm going to come in with a few little art marks now. Really accentuate that circle on the left side. The fluid correction pen is definitely one of my favorite mark making supplies. It marks over almost everything and it dries really quickly, which I enjoy. Especially working on the inside of a journal where you're closing the pages. It's nice to have something that dries pretty quickly. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching today's video, and if you haven't watched the previous videos, make sure to go back and watch those. I have them all the way from the beginning in a playlist, and I cannot wait to see you guys on Friday. I hope that you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time.